Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi everyone, thanks for being here. And thank you for all your recent comments and emails and contributions. It's amazing, and I can't express my gratitude enough. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I happened to mention to somebody, I don't know if it was in a video or online, that well, I have the small book in front of me here, but the Gongyo book that has instruction and on pronunciation keys, characters, rhythm, how to find the rhythm in the notation, and how to perform Gongyo and the meditations and all that. Anyway, I happened to mention that in the larger format book, there is, I don't think in the smaller one, there's an English translation at the back. And yeah, it's not in the smaller book. I don't know how useful that is. Because Gongyo is an interactive fusion process of recitation of the sermon with the mandala to awaken our Gohonzon, our Buddha mind. I don't think it serves any purpose to try to rhythmically read through or chant the English translation. It's just too, English is so far apart from the sonic chanting, singing rhythms of recitation that it doesn't work. You become more preoccupied with the words than with the act of performing Gongyo correctly and well, and the intonation and all of it. But I think it is useful in, once again, digging into the meaning, which, especially as new members, or new, I should say, practitioners, old language, that's one of the first questions we have, other than the Daimoku, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. The Gongyo seems, it's so foreign, it seems somehow mystical. Well, it isn't. It's an invocation as well, and that's why it's so important. And so I'm going to go, I don't know why, but I'm going to go backwards. I'm not going to start from the beginning. Why should I? I'm intrigued by the devices that Siddhartha Gautama used after he was enlightened, after he has attained his Buddha nature, and he's living in his Buddha mind, his Buddha nature, his Buddha-ness, and he's teaching people, elevating them slowly to be able to understand what it is to do this. And then when he gets to the Lotus Sutra, he nails it down and he says, look, this is how it's done. This is how it works. This is how I attained Buddha. This is how all Buddhas attain Buddha. This is what Buddha is. And this is how you too can do it. He's still using expedient means even within that discourse. You see, it becomes quite obvious, Nichiren's elucidations of these things become completely foundationally obvious. It's not Nichiren creating these ideas. This is what Shakyamuni's been saying all along. And, one of, if not the main focus of Nichiren's scholarship when it concerns the Lotus Sutra is the lifespan of the Tathagata chapter. This is the part that Nichiren bases all of his all of his doctrine of the Lotus Sutra. He puts all of his eggs in this one chapter of the essential teachings of the Lotus Sutra. And so I think it bears a little bit of study. And in the last half, just before, there's two parts to the Tathagata chapter. And I'm referring to the latter part just before the verse version where he talks about the skilled physician story. And I'm just going to go ahead and read through it. You may not have ever heard or read the skilled physician analogy, but here it is. And in this chapter, you understand, this is when Shakyamuni says to all of his students, "You may think me, the human before you, attained this enlightenment in this human lifetime. And I'm talking to the people of Shakyamuni's day now, you assume and you give me the label of the Buddha as though I were some unique, godly embodiment of something outside the realm of human beings. Of course you do, because you all came up through Vedic texts and all kinds of deities and Hinduism and all these other flavors of religious thought that pervade India at this time. And this is why this chapter is such a bomb drop on these people. Because he basically takes that apart. He says, no, I didn't attain Buddha here as a man. There's no beginning date to Buddha. There's no end date to Buddha. It's always present. This is when he's trying to get them to understand that they have their own, the Buddha is part of their humanity, that they can instantiate it anytime they want. They're just stubbornly clinging to samsara. And if there's an argument anywhere in Buddhism for the power of attachment, this is it. This is the breaking point. This is, if you really want to, you think of your attachments to that baseball glove you've had since you were a kid that you can't get rid of. Or I'm not a woman, so I don't know as a child growing up what a young girl's attachment, what would it be? I have no idea. I'm not even going to guess. But for men and women, there are differences, but that's just perception. So just as a human being, we carry along with us so many things for no other reason than we find some odd kind of comfort in having it. Even with food, right? We call it comfort food. I know it's bad for me, but whatever. But this attachment that this chapter really nails down is the attachment of humanity itself. This condition we call samsara, this condition of all attachments, is a huge attachment. And so the physician story goes like this. I'm just starting in the midst of the chapter here. And this is actually, I'm going to read the paragraph before just to set it up. Good men, he's talking to the entire assembled masses, to us. The Buddhas and thus come ones all preach a law such as this. They act in order to save all living beings. So what they do is true and not false. He's just got through going through this ad nauseum argument on how because you don't witness something does not mean it's false. Because Buddha teaches in different levels doesn't mean that he lied to you before and now he's telling you the truth. Even though that's the rhetoric in some of the things where he comes out, like in the Innumerable Meanings chapter, when he says, now I'm ready to divulge the truth. That doesn't mean that I've been lying all along. It means that you weren't ready to hear what I had to say, so I had to slowly, got something in my eye, of course, I had to slowly educate you and bring you up to a place where, your capacity up to a place where, when I now drop this information on you, you'll be able to grasp it. Whereas in the past, it just left you as a deer in the headlights. You had no idea how to connect this to your life experience. That doesn't mean I told a lie. That means I was slowly expanding your horizons so that now when I tell you this is where you're headed, this is your destination, I'm not saying everything previous was a lie. I never tell lies. I just have expedient means. These are modes of teaching. So he's explaining this in the lifespan chapter, right? I know I've let you believe that I myself am the Buddha, but that's not a lie. It's just what you needed to hear to continue to listen and expand your mind until now, where now I tell you I'm not the Buddha. I've attained Buddha just like all of you can, and this is how to do it. That's the great revolutionary teaching of the Lotus Sutra. It's not that Shakyamuni didn't teach this before. It's just that it wasn't made obvious. And for us, in this era of complete distraction and attachments galore, it's the only thing that'll work. Previous teachings may have had the function of enlightening some people, but that was not Shakyamuni's mission. His mission was that all sentient and insentient beings could attain their Buddha, the Buddha mind state, the Buddha awareness, the Buddha clarity. That it shouldn't be for just some privileged few or those that might get it. That it was universal. And so now he's saying this is how any of you can do it, because it's not special. It's not something I invented or I am solely embodiment of. I am just one of many of you who has attained this clarity. And there's no reason you can't do it as well. All right, enough on that. But the introduction to this story starts with him saying these expedient means are necessary in samsara for this disease, this problem of samsara. And so this is the story of the skilled physician. Suppose, for example, that there is a skilled physician who is wise and understanding and knows how to compound medicines to effectively cure all kinds of diseases. He has many sons, perhaps 10, 20, or even 100 sons. He goes off to some other land far away to see about a certain affair. After he is gone, the children drink some kind of poison that makes them distraught with pain, and they fall writhing to the ground. They're in bad shape. At that time, the father returns to his home and finds that his children have all drunk poison. Some are completely out of their minds, while others are not. Seeing their father from far off, all are overjoyed and kneel down and entreat him, saying, "How fine that you have returned safely. We were stupid, and by mistake we drank some poison. We beg you to cure us and let us live out our lives." I hope you understand the poison he's talking about is samsara, is attachments, is the delusions of self and ego and ownership and possession, the whole lot. This is the analogy. without their father to guide them, they've immediately gone astray and listened to all their monkeys. I mean, use every teaching of Buddhism here is about this disarray of the mind. The monkey mind, the mind of attachments, the mind of samsara. And you fully dove into it. The pleasures and the sufferings of this human life. And you're in it. And most of us don't know to look for the cure. We're just too busy immersed in our humanity, right? But is it really humanity? Our philosophical ideal of humanity? Or is it just the avarice, anger, greed, and stupidity? We were stupid and drank some poison. The father, seeing his children suffering like this, follows various prescriptions. Gathering fine medicinal herbs that meet all the requirements of color, fragrance, and flavor, he grinds, sifts, and mixes them together. These are the expedient means, the teachings of Buddhism. Giving a dose of these to his children, he tells them, quote, "This is a highly effective medicine, meeting all the requirements of color, fragrance, and flavor. Take it, and you will quickly be relieved of your sufferings and will be free of all illness." Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Right? Those children who have not lost their minds and their senses see that this is good medicine, outstanding in both color and fragrance, so they take it immediately and are completely cured of their sickness, samsara. Those who are out of their minds are equally delighted to see their father return and beg him to cure their sickness, but when they're given the medicine, they refuse to take it. I'm not going to chant those magic words. Just make me better. Why? Why are they so stubborn? Because the poison has penetrated deeply and their minds are no longer function as before. Because clear minds can tell the difference between greed and equanimity, between anger and compassion. But once you're fully embroiled in this samsaric world of innumerable attachments and vices, and right, it's hard. Even if you want to let go of it, you go, but like that movie that Steve Martin did, and this is all I need. Oh, and this, and that's all I. Oh, and this thing too, and that's all I need. We just don't want to let go of stuff, right? So this is the teaching. So although the medicine is of excellent color and fragrance, they do not perceive it as good. Why should I even practice Buddhism? It's just another magic thing, right? The father thinks to himself, my poor children. Because of the poison in them, their minds are completely befuddled. Although they are happy to see me and ask me to cure them, they refuse to take this excellent medicine. I must now resort to some expedient means to induce them to take the medicine. I'm going to have to trick them. Does that mean I'm bad? Does that mean I'm not a good father? This is Shakyamuni asking his audience, because I'm now giving you the solution to your samsaric suffering. And some of you are looking at me like I'm from outer space, or maybe not, and you know what I mean. I'm going to have to resort to some expedient means to get you there. These are the prior teachings to the Lotus Sutra. You're not getting it. So let me lead your mind to it by using your own stubbornness. So he says to them, "You should know that I am now old and worn out, and the time of my death has come. I will leave this good medicine here. You should take it and not worry that it will not cure you." Having given these instructions, he then goes off to another land where he sends a messenger home to announce, "Your father is dead." Kind of shocked them into their own world. At that time, the children, hearing that their father has deserted them and died, are filled with great grief and consternation, and think to themselves, if our father were alive, he would have pity on us and see that we are protected. But now he has abandoned us and died in some other country far away. We are shelterless orphans with no one to rely on. Wah. Constantly harboring such feelings of grief, they at last come to their senses, in a way, and realize that the medicine is in fact excellent in color and fragrance and flavor, and so they take it and are healed of all the effects of the poison. Now, I mean, this is obviously a reference to the Lotus Sutra. I'm leaving you this great medicine, this great teaching, and I'm gone. What are you going to do now? You going to cling to your views that I'm trying to poison you too? Or are you going to come to your senses? Even if you take the medicine reticently, you still take it. It's your last remnant of fatherdom, guidance, protection, right? The father, hearing that his children are all cured, immediately returns home and appears to them at once, all once more. So, he doesn't do it for his ego, but as soon as they've taken the medicine, he knows they're going to get better. He wants to end their suffering. He doesn't want to teach them a lesson. He just wants them to take the medicine. So as soon as he hears they've taken the medicine, he hurries home so they don't continue to suffer that they've lost their father. Don't grieve. Now that you're healthy again, you can live your life fully. This is true parenting, right? So this is the story that Shakyamuni Buddha uses to help people understand why he's been teaching for so many years all these expedient means, and just now giving them the surefire universal method, because they weren't getting it before. He had to get them there, nudge them there through expedient means. Good men, what is your opinion? Can anyone say that this skilled physician is guilty of lying? Well, yeah, he lied. He said he was dead. He went somewhere. Well, he wasn't lying. He was just compassionately finding a way to get you to realize your own Buddha. Right? No, world-honored one, is the response. The Buddha said, "It is the same with me. It has been immeasurable, boundless, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, millions of nayutas and asamkaya kalpas since I attained Buddhahood. But for the sake of living beings, I employ the power of expedient means and say that I am about to pass into extinction. In view of the circumstances, however, no one can say that I have been guilty of lies or falsehoods." At that time, the world-honored one, wishing to state his meaning once more, spoke in verse form, saying. So this, in the Gongyo book, would be the C section, right? The third section. And he recounts all of this. So should we go through it? I think it's important because there's another device at work here. And I've said it before. All of this is in the first person. So as we're reading this, we're also taking ownership of our own Buddha. We are in Samsara. And so ownership and possession are important to us. So even in this recitation of Gongyo, we are performing this story. We are being our own physician. Do you see? Since I attained Buddhahood. Well, you're reciting this focused on the mandala of your Gohonzon, your Buddha mind. You're there. Since I attained Buddhahood, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. This is about your practice. You right now as you're reciting and practicing. The number of kalpas that have passed is immeasurable, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, millions, trillions of asamkayas. Right? This is the beginning of the verse section. This is what you are saying. Constantly I've preached the law, teaching, converting countless millions of living beings, causing them to enter the Buddha way, all this for immeasurable kalpas. If that's not Bodhisattva way, what is? You are invoking and talking from your Buddha mind, which has no time reference. Buddha's Buddha is Buddha. And when you invoke it, that clarity starts to manifest itself in your human samsaric form. And you're invoking it right here. Whether you understand that or not isn't the point. The point is you're invoking it. In order to save living beings as an expedient means, I appear to enter nirvana, but the truth is I do not pass into extinction. Right? And somebody just asked me about annihilism and eternalism. Shakyamuni was very much opposed to those two possibilities of something is eternal, something, or in order to be enlightened, you have to leave this body, you have to leave samsara. No, those are death cults. And so that you understand, when he says extinction, he's talking about the end of the samsaric life. Doesn't end Buddha-ness. Buddha-ness is always present with the force that is life itself. Energy, work. Remember karma? Annihilism perverts that thought of entering Buddha-ness with that old idea that Shakyamuni was the singular Buddha. But in the Lotus Sutra, Shakyamuni makes it abundantly clear that he's just a human who's awakened Buddha in his life. Just like all of us. That's not annihilism. You don't have to get rid of this human body in order to then penetrate this otherworldly state called Buddha. No. In fact, the only place you can instantiate this Buddha is here and now in this samsaric state. When you're no longer in samsara, there's no need for this clarity. This clarity is about living life free of the sufferings of its attachments, not free from itself. That's annihilism. Eternalism builds some kind of baggage of Sylvain, Bob, Alice, and calls it a soul or an essence, and it continues. No. It's all, how can somebody believe in that kind of magical hogwash and not believe in what's in your face right here and now? I don't understand. And neither does Shakyamuni. He understands and he works with it, but his whole life is dedicated to breaking that bond, because that's what creates suffering. Not the bond of life, right? This isn't about leaving life. It's about leaving samsara, which is a mental condition. To understand clearly the way life works can only happen when you have a mind to conceive of it. Buddha-ness can only be experienced as his own example, as a human. But we have to transcend that attachment mind, that condition, that mental condition of samsara. That's the disease, not humanity. Humanity can be an amazing celebration of the life force with a clear mind of Buddha. Buddha's a realization, it's a perception. It's not a denial. It's an uncovering of what otherwise would be mysterious life. It's not pre or post life itself. So yeah, eternalism is a denial of this life. It says other things are better. So I can't wait till I die and go to heaven. Where's that? What the hell is that? Heaven's right here and now. You just have to find it in your own mind. Look at the amazing world we're living in. That's heaven. Hell, you want to know about all the Avicii hells and all the hot and cold hells and the 800 hells and so on and so forth? Those are simply conditions of samsaric mind thinking. If in samsara, in this body, in this time, you can be aware and experience from a Buddha perspective what's happening in life, it all becomes amazing, joyful, wonderful. That's the Buddha mind. That's what's available to you. It's simply a change of perception. Then the attachments become proof of Buddha, of life. There's no annihilism there. That's a perversion of earlier Buddhist teachings that says life bad, Buddha good, like they're different things. They're not. But in truth, I do not pass into extinction. He's not saying me, the man, don't pass into extinction. I certainly do. My lifespan is limited, just like yours is. But Buddha, that thing that I have achieved, that you are now seeking to find, that never goes into extinction. It never stops existing, but it is a mental perceptive condition freed from the disease of samsaric attachment. Do you see? If there's anything being annihilated here, it's the attachments. But they're not burned. They're not put to death. They're released. Remember the word liberation, not annihilation, liberation. That implies it continues to exist, does it not? How can something be liberated if it isn't continuing to be there? It's in the words. I am always here preaching the law. Who is always here? What is always here? Not Shakyamuni. Buddha. Buddha never changes. Buddha is a state of mind that's accessible to any person, any sentient mind. And it always works the same way. I am always here, but through my transcendental powers, I make it so that living beings in their befuddlement do not see me even when close by. Because living beings in samsara believe in samsara. That's the world of attachments. That's why we suffer. Even though Buddha it's built in. We don't even know to look for it. We don't even try. That's what that means. We're befuddled by our samsaric attachments. When the multitude sees that I have passed into extinction far and wide, they will offer alms to my relics. Yeah, now that there's no teacher, there's no father, there's no guide to liberation, now you'll fetishize me. You'll take my bones and my fingernails and whatever remnants you can, you'll put them in altars and you'll go, oh man, he was great. It was all. Again, that borders on eternalism and nihilism because we're so attached. Shakyamuni's fingernail isn't Buddha. His mental state was Buddha, which is available to all of us. All harbor thoughts of yearning and in their minds thirst to gaze at me. What are you trying to gaze at, Shakyamuni? That's why I said don't use images of me. Use images in your own mind to liberate yourself from the bondage of samsara. It is your mind that changes. This is why Nichiren created this mandala, because it is an intellectualization, a contextualization of the teachings of the Lotus Sutra. It's not an image of Shakyamuni or an image of a blue sky or snowy, as snow, what do you call those balls that you shake and, right? When living beings have become truly faithful or committed, honest and upright, gentle in intent, single-mindedly desiring to see the Buddha, not me, the Buddha, the mind state Buddha, not hesitating even if it cost them their lives, then I and the assembly of monks appear together on Holy Eagle Peak. In other words, then your realization of this teaching, the teaching, the wonderful White Lotus, the teaching of the Lotus, the Sadam Pundarika Sutra, the Lotus Sutra, the Myoho Renge Kyo. When you have that kind of desire, that it is more important than your earthly attachments. That's what he means when if it costs them their lives. He doesn't mean die. He means if it costs you your samsaric attachments, that life. If being enlightened, attaining Buddha, is more important to you than that last French fry, then, with that kind of desire, you will belong to what I'm teaching in this Myoho Renge Kyo. You will have enlivened your Buddha, the Buddha. At that time, I tell living beings that I'm always here, never entering extinction, but that because of the power of an expedient means, at times I appear to be extinct, and at other times not, and that if there are living beings in other lands who are reverent and sincere in their wish to believe or to take confidence in, then among them too I will preach the unsurpassed law. Not I, Shakyamuni, Buddha. The mind of Buddha. The Buddha clarity, the Buddha mind. I don't know how many times I can say this, but that's what he is saying. But you have not heard of this, so you suppose that I enter extinction. Buddha. But I don't. Shakyamuni, Siddhartha enters extinction, and with it, the mind of Siddhartha. But Buddha isn't subject to these earthly attachment. It is available and there present constantly, abiding in life. When I look at all living beings, I see them drowned in a sea of suffering, samsara. Therefore, I do not show myself, causing them to thirst for me. Then, when their minds are filled with yearning, at last I appear and preach the law for them. Because it takes that degree of desire to awaken the Buddha mind. So, how is it that Buddha could be some other, right? Going back to the argument about annihilism or eternalism. How could Buddha be outside of this human experience if it is our very samsaric desire that manifests in us the will to instantiate Buddha? It's so obvious. The Buddha only appears with great desire that is here and now in this samsaric reality. Such are my transcendental powers. Transcendental because it's we that are being transcendental. It's we that are transferring our desires and our ichinen, our will, our volition from what we're attached to in this samsaric mindset to a clear mind of Buddha. Not that we can't enjoy a French fry. I don't know why French fries are up today, but such are my transcendental powers. For asamkaya kalpas constantly I've dwelled at a holy eagle peak. In other words, I've always existed, and in various other places. When living beings witness the end of a kalpa, and all is consumed in a great fire, this, my land, remains safe and tranquil, constantly filled with heavenly and human beings. In other words, whatever tragic experiences you may have in samsara, that does not affect your Buddha mind. Your Buddha mind is always tranquil, safe, beautiful. Even great fires and the loss of all possessions, that's just part of samsaric life. It's not to be suffered so much as it is to be witnessed. When living beings witness the end of a kalpa. The halls and pavilions in its gardens and groves are adorned with various kinds of gems. Jeweled trees abound in flowers and fruit where living beings only enjoy themselves at ease. Right? He hasn't taken away human pleasures. He's changed the perception. Trees with fruit in them are no longer just trees with fruit in them that you can go pick and eat and collect and get the most, more than him, more than her. Suddenly the trees become jewels and gorgeous and just amazing things. The Buddha mind. The gods strike heavenly drums, constantly making many kinds of music. Mandara blossoms rain down, scattering over the Buddha and a great assembly. My pure land is not destroyed, yet the multitude see it as consumed in fire, and with anxiety, fear, and other sufferings filling it everywhere. He's juxtaposing the Buddha mindset with the ordinary samsaric mindset, right? And he does this throughout. I think I'm running a little long here, so I'm going to jump ahead. I think you're getting the picture here. He's constantly repeating himself. And at the end, always I am aware of which living beings practice the way and which do not. And in response to their needs for salvation, I preach various doctrines for them. At all times, I think to myself, Buddha perceives, how can I cause living beings to gain entry into the unsurpassed way and quickly acquire the body of a Buddha? How can you acquire the body of a Buddha without the body? Buddha is a mind, a mental condition of understanding, compassion, and awe at this process we call life, which is our experience of samsara, of suffering, of attachment. And so he, Shakyamuni, talks about the different various ways he teaches as a bodhisattva. And the fact of the matter is that while Shakyamuni was alive, although everyone called him the Buddha, he was, though in his Buddha mind state, acting, behaving, and teaching as a bodhisattva. And this is the highest achievement of bodhisattva, is to attain the Buddha mind, but stay grounded here in this life to assist others to do the same. Buddha mind state, bodhisattva, samsaric entity with Buddha mind state. You can't separate Buddha from samsaric life. They function together. So, yeah, everything about Shakyamuni's teachings is about this life and how to experience it. So there's no annihilating here, and there's no eternalism here, because both of those deny this existence. This is where it all happens. I can't emphasize that enough. I really can't. Obviously, I've been saying it quite a lot, right? I hope you got something new out of this. And maybe I'll do more specifically about Gongyo and the translations there. Let me know what you think in the comments. Your thoughts, things, issues maybe that you're not quite getting. Let me know what they are, and we'll talk about it. I think it's of critical importance that you understand this is the crux of the teaching. And the more you understand, the more value you will have when you commit to your Gongyo, understanding the depth of what you're doing and the import of your Buddha, how it functions in your life. Okay? Thanks for being here, all of you, my patrons. You're amazing, both on Patreon and outside of Patreon. We're all over the world. Think about that while you chant. It's amazing. And don't forget to download the podcasts if they're helpful for you. You can listen to them whenever you want. You can keep them and own them. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your health. Be kind to yourself and others. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hey, thank you for being here. Did you know there's a third way you can help support this channel? And it won't cost you a cent. Yep. If you are not able to be a patron on Patreon or use the PayPal me at .com at Sifu Sylvain because you don't have the financial fortune to help support this channel right now, you, as I say, always support this channel by watching, but you can also help us grow so that maybe one day we can get over 10,000 subscribers and YouTube will grace us with monetization. It's not a lot, but if you can make sure you're subscribed and share a video like a simple one, just go into the search criteria and type monk and you'll have a video that'll come up that's been up for years about what is a monk. You know, it's called monk, who, how, where, something like that. That might be a great introduction to somebody who doesn't understand what a monk is to begin with. It's a tool. Use this channel as a tool to help you with your bodhisattva practice, and share a video to somebody who you think, oh, I know somebody who'll benefit from watching this. And in that way, you can help us grow. And that's a really good way to help your practice along as well. So just wanted to drop that in on you in case that's something that you might find useful. Take care of yourself again, and I'll see you soon. Bye.